Hey, welcome to Unit 2, Section 3 homework. This is the first page, 1 through 8. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and get started. The directions say evaluate the functions for the given values. Okay, so number 1, f of x equals x plus 7, and I want to find f of 5. Well, remember, anything in parentheses is x, and so I'm going to replace this x with this 5. Okay? So if you want to, you can just write f of 5 equals, instead of x, I do 5 plus 7. And then that's easy to add. 5 plus 7 is 12. That's my answer. So some of these you can do by hand very quickly. Others, the calculator might help you out a little more. But that one was pretty simple, so I just added. All right, number 2. Given g of x equals 3x minus 8, if g of x equals 1, find x. So on this one, it's backwards, okay? Notice it doesn't give me x right here. I'm missing x. So if I don't have x, that means it gives me y. Okay, so if g of x equals 1, that means y is 1. And so here's my y. I'm going to replace this with 1. Okay. Now, you can do this by hand, but I know some of y'all are struggling, or you just don't like solving for equations, especially like this. So I will go ahead and do this one in the calculator just so you can see how to do it if you'd like to use this instead. So if you want to do this in the calculator, I'm going to go to y equals. If there's anything there, clear it out. I'm going to type in my equation or my function 3x minus 8. Okay. Once that looks the same, so this is very similar to yesterday, I can do second graph. And because I know this is y, I want to find 1 on the y, which is right here. And then I just write my answer, which is 3. So it says find x. I can do x equals 3. And that's it. That's my whole answer. Okay, so you can do all of these in the calculator, or you can plug them all in and solve. Either way is fine. There's just certain ones that I think might be easier to do without a calculator, but you can choose whatever's easier for you. Okay. So anything with a fraction, I'll go ahead and just do it in the calculator just to make it easier. And then like over here, when we get to squares and stuff like that, so it looks like the rest of these are going to be in the calculator. So the first one was very easy. The rest of these, we'll just do this. Okay, so on number 3, this is in parentheses, so this is x. Okay. Now in the calculator, though, you don't want to replace the x with the number. I just want to type this in and then go find that number for x in the table. Okay, so be very careful, because if you replace it incorrectly in the calculator, it'll give you the wrong answer, and you probably won't notice. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2/3 x minus 1. Okay, so I type my function in. I hit second graph. And because this is x, I want to make sure I look on the x side to write the y. So I'm going to go to 9, and my answer would be 5. So I have h of 9 equals 5. That's my answer. And that's pretty simple. Okay, so really this is just about practicing repetition. That way you get the process down, you know the steps really well, and you can do this for any kind of equation that they might give you on a test, or especially the STAR test. Okay, so same thing. I have f of x equals x squared minus x, and then if f of x equals 20, okay, so look, that's not in parentheses, and it's telling me to find x. So if it tells me to find x, this has to be y. Okay, so when I type this in and go to my table, just make sure you look on the y column for 20, and then you have x. Okay, so I'm at y equals, so I hit x squared minus x Okay, second graph. And look, there's 20 right there on the y. So this answer would be, I have x equals 5. And, oh look, I have another one, -4. Okay. So just a little tidbit. If I have a square like this, pretty much that'll tell me that's how many answers I should find. So if it's a 2, I should have 2 answers. Notice on all the ones we've already done, there's no exponent, there's no 2, which means it's a 1, which is why I only have 1 answer. So whenever you see that number, make sure you look for 2 answers, because there are 2, or there should be. Okay, number 5. Okay. So look, this one is squared, which means I should have 2 answers depending on where this is. And because it's in parentheses, this is x. Okay, so I just type this in. I have -x squared plus 6x minus 4. I hit second graph, and because this is x, I can go to 5, and I get 1. And actually, because this is x, I am only going to have 1 answer because it's the only x that I can get, right? This is the only 5 I can find. Okay, so because that's the only 5 where x equals 5, that's my only 1 answer. All right. So if it's ever x, it's probably going to be just 1. If it's ever y and there's a 2, then you might have 2. I won't say always because it's not always going to be 2, but you might have 2. All right, number 6. Okay, I'm going to get my calculator. Y equals, I'm going to type this in, -1/2 x plus 9. Okay, so I type that in. And look, this is not in parentheses, therefore this is y. So I just got to make sure when I go second graph, I'm looking for -8 on the y column. And see how these numbers are going 7, 8. I'm going up in numbers, so I need to go down to go negative so that I can find -8. See, I have -8 on the y, so x is 34. And I'm good with that. Hopefully y'all can see that. All right, number 7, I have another square. But because this is x, I'm only going to have 1 answer. So I type this in, 2x squared plus 4x minus 9. I do second graph. I go to -5. Okay, so when x is -5, y is 21. So I have f of -5 equals 21. That's my answer. I know I didn't circle the last 3, and then all of a sudden I circle again. So some of y'all are like freaking out. Like, what is he thinking? That's okay. All right, so that's it on that one, right? That's all we had to do. Just go in there. All right, last one on this page. We have 1 minus 3/4 x. And because this is not in parentheses, this is y. So I hit second graph, and I need to find that. And another thing too, I don't have an x squared, so I only have 1 answer. So I go to y, so I'm looking on the right side. I want to find 1. I found it. Look at that, it's 0. X equals 0. And we're done with this page. But for you OCD people, there, I circled that one. I circled that one. And I'm going to circle this answer. Look at that. There we go. Now you can relax, calm down, and if you need to, go to the next video.